and welcome to Talking Crass. This is the final episode of our Game of Thrones Season 7 reviews. It's a special episode as well, because we have a special guest. And I'm not talking about Beat. Beat, how are you?
I'm top notch, mate. How's you?
I'm great, mate. It's Friday night, we're having a great time. One of the lads is over, he loves his Game of Thrones. Scott, how are you?
Brilliant.
I wonder what that is. Let's just hear a slurp from me.
Scott, John, will you put that Lucas here away from Jesus?
So, me and Scott's had a few cans. We've rewatched the Game of Thrones episode.
What am I drinking?
So quiet.
It made a noise.
Beat on the roller coaster. It's all going well. With this being episode 7 of season 7 and the final episode of the season, we're just going to go straight into episode talk. And then we're going to answer a few fan questions at the end of it. Beat, take it away.
Take it away, me.
Yes, you take it away.
Right.
As you can tell, we're not very organised this episode. I blame it all on Scott.
First point.
No.
He's took things up.
First point. John's back on his feet. How long does it take to recover from hypothermia?
Scott, with you having a sports degree, people's not going to know about you, but they might be able to join the dots now. How long does it take to recover from hypothermia?
An episode.
That's the answer to every that's the answer to every question on this fucking
That's
note.
basically the answer to the episode.
So, right. There's like no repercussions for John falling out of the lake. There's got to be something more to that. He got a crusty coat taken off him.
I think it might have been something to do with Uncle Benjamin's spinning fireball.
Oh, Jesus
Falling him
Christ.
out.
Because that is the answer to everything in this season. Uncle Benjamin.
One episode, and Uncle
Benjamin
Benjamin.
will be there.
God damn.
Andy's wearing like 100 kilograms of clothing.
He looked
on top of him.
He looked pretty good for being like fucked up last episode. One kiss from Daenerys and he's hot at shot out. Maybe it is Targaryen heritage.
I've got a point. So the Unsullied
Yeah.
beat Scott. How did they just arrive at King's Landing? Why did they make a massive point of them being stuck at Castle Rock and then just totally get rid of that plot point?
Well, basically, Euron withdrew his forces, scurried back to King's Landing to help Cersei. Actually, it's a great point. I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? It's again, right? And it's taboo. It's taboo to hammer this show.
Taboo?
And I think it's great.
Is it
I love
taboo?
the show. I love the season. But the writing has been shit. Moving on. That was my point. Why are the Unsullied in King's Landing? We haven't got an answer for you.
What happens next? Euron pulls back.
Mm-hmm.
These get out there because they're hungry as hell.
We need to get the map up again, by the way. We're not going to, but how far away is Castle Rock to King's Landing?
Does Euron not just destroy the ships that they left in the harbour whilst they were in Castle Rock?
Aye.
So they had to get stuck in Castle Rock.
So
So John's point of how they actually got to King's Landing is quite interesting.
That's a
isn't
great point by Scott.
Maybe
They had no
Daenerys threw them
ships.
all there.
They had no ships.
One episode, there we go.
Euron
That's the answer.
You know what I mean?
Benjen Stark, magic.
It's
Accept
Benjen
it.
Stark's spinning fireball. That's what it is.
Can I add a question to that
Any
one?
time out.
yeah.
Just charm in.
So what is, Scott? You just
Chime in.
We've all made notes, obviously, and just chime in when you think your notes. Shout over the top of each other when you think your notes in.
Make more sense.
Oh, you know.
So, the Unsullied stood in formation outside of King's Landing.
Right.
Why are the Dothraki hiding in the trees? The Dothraki screamers just being quiet, whispering in the trees.
The most feral people known to Westeros are just chilling out. He's like, you can imagine a camera
game of
point.
hide and seek.
You can imagine a camera point from their view, just like, oh, when we meant to go, they're standing out there.
I've got an answer for you.
Aye.
They're all taking a piss.
What, they're all taking the piss or actually taking a piss?
They all jumped off the horses. They hooked the horses up, and they all went for a piss, and then rejoined the battle.
That would make the Unsullied very jealous. Look at them fucking.
That runs me to my next point.
Right.
When Bron's talking to Jamie, I've got a question for the two of you.
Hit us up.
Would you fight an army if you didn't have a cock?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
Honour.
Because if you
Honour. Get some honour in you, mate.
Because if you haven't got a cut, you haven't got much else to do.
That's a great point, that, by the way.
No,
You got now today?
You haven't?
I love that point, though.
As Jimmy says, or even
Bron
says, people fight for money.
Aye.
What do you spend your money on? Obviously brothels.
Aye.
Family. You can have a family without
Kegs.
There's no Sky Sports 1 in there, like, is there, in Westeros? So there's not much more you're going to do other than jacket every night. So there's that question answered.
Moving on.
So I've got, jumping a bit here, reunions galore, Hound in the Mountain.
I've got the Hound in the Mountain here as well, mate. Going to get it
I've
on.
got one about the Hound as well, but I'll let you go first.
Right. I mean, that's just the point there.
So what do you think of the point when the Hound and the Mountain met each other?
We've
Like,
got...
he stepped out and said...
So we've got Tyrion, Pod, Tyrion, Bronn, Hound, and Brienne.
Mm-hmm.
All little meetings I've always wanted to see for a long time. We've previously spoken about how much I enjoy a nice little meet-up. Again, it feels a little rushed at the fact that we're meeting all these characters all at the same time in the same area. But I still enjoy it, the little pieces of dialogue there and there. Any other points from anyone?
Beat, you mentioned the Hound.
Yes.
What I find quite interesting is, and he's one of my favourite characters at the moment.
Me too.
How can the Hound, from the start, being such a hated character, like do a total 180 and become such a loved character? A little bit like, if you've seen Prison Break,
Right.
Brad Bellick.
The
prison guard?
The prison guard, I've seen Prison Break.
Right, so
yeah,
is the
I know
prison
what
guard the guy out of the Dark Knight?
So he's like the.
Do you have any
he's
idea
like
who
the
he's
fat guy
stealing
with
from?
a bald head.
you mean. No, he's the fat guy with the bald head.
I have
And
no idea who that
He gets
is.
flushed. He gets flushed away in like the pipe.
Is-
The pipe, and when
What?
they
He
escape.
gets sacked. He gets sacked. Anyway, back
Anyway.
on track. The point Scott's making is, what do you think of?
Does he look like James Gandolfini?
Yes, that's the dude.
Right, I
Kind
know
of.
who it is, He turns into a good guy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like everyone hates him at the start.
Aye,
He
he's
ends
a
up being
total
legend.
wanker.
I think it's great. I think that's what people watch Game of Thrones for. A similar character to that is obviously Jaime Lannister as well. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that is Game of Thrones. I think that's the idea that you don't know how to feel about characters who fuck their own sister. But then, you know, they make kind of heroic decisions.
And
Nailed that, by the way.
Can you now let that slide? Or have you got a long memory?
I'm not letting it slide, but I think it's interesting.
Like, have you
that
got a
you've
long
got
memory, Scott? Like, you know Jaime Lannister?
Uh-huh.
Quite a likeable character now.
Yeah.
But he was a fucking dickhead in the first season if you go back and watch
Well,
it.
that's what I'm saying about the Hound.
Can you let that slide, though?
Yeah.
Do you like the Hound?
Yeah.
Do you like
He's
Jaime
one of my
Lannister now?
favourite. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just good.
That's what Game of Thrones does.
Bingo.
It
That
makes
is-
you hate characters and then love characters.
That is what Game
Nailed
of
it.
Thrones did from season 1 to season 6.
Even though he's just brought the point up in season 7.
No.
Excellent. Love it. Moving on. House of the Undying Prophecy. Check one off that list. Dragon Shadow over King's Landing. So do you guys know anything about that at all?
No, not at all.
So basically the crack is, we're back in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Daenerys has moved over to Essos. Oh no, she's already there. What
Is
am I
that what
talking
she's going
about?
to do with the blue lips?
She's with the guy who hosted Crystal Maze.
Pontus Briandis.
His name's Pontus Priya. He's got blue lips, and he takes her into a place called the House of the Undying.
Right.
He's stolen her 3 dragons for power, because the magical gives him more power.
Mhm.
I don't understand the whole science behind it. In that building, she sees a premonition, and there's a lot of shit in there. We have King's Landing is basically rubble, and there's ash everywhere, or snow.
So do we get to see this? It's not just
We see it
characters
visually.
talk.
I'm not referring to the book because it's a little
I
different.
need to go back and watch this. I need to watch them all again. Like,
I've got no idea how you remember this.
Sorry, spoiled all. We also get the shadow of a huge dragon flying over King's Landing. So that might be a different time, but I think is in relevance to this scene right here. So there we go.
You
Ticking it
don't
off the
think it
list.
could be Balerion the Dread?
That is another great point. As I say, it is very ambiguous intentionally, so we
yeah.
don't know whether that's the case. But I like that thinking. Other stuff we saw was a blue rose on the wall, which I believe is in relation to
Lyanna Stark.
Lyanna Stark and Jon. But it's all a bit ambiguous, as I said. Moving on.
So was this in King's Landing in the Red Keep? You had a blue rose.
The premonition.
You had a
Oh,
blue
no.
rose on
There was a blue rose on the wall, it was cracked in the wall. That's what Danny saw.
All right.
So obviously we didn't know John's heritage.
Mm.
We do now.
Yeah.
So all these things are meant to be coming true. I'm not sure how many of them have already come true. We need to go back and put actual research in. But it's this podcast, we don't do that.
If you look back in the scene when they're all together as well, and if you look in the background, obviously they've told the actors to like react, and I think that's
They're just
very
looking at
good.
a green ball.
Varys, we were saying Varys didn't
React.
Varys didn't have much to do in this like episode, really, did he?
No.
But you see, check his act now in that episode. Look at when they're all talking.
Was it good?
He's in the background going like, ooh.
What's he doing? No, he's not paying attention.
I was looking in the background.
Oh my god.
Can I just go back to Beat's point about the dragon?
Right.
As you know how Daenerys has kind of came there with her full force. So
Aye.
she's got all the Unsullied, she's got all the Dothraki there, she's got her 2 dragons there.
Mm-hmm.
Why does she not keep the dragon just
one
there?
of them.
Just sit there and
Just
watch.
look over them.
right.
Yeah, just look over them.
Can she? Oh, she can do
Imagine
that.
that. You're talking in this meeting, Cersei's sitting
You
there.
wouldn't be able to have a good
trying to be
meeting,
the
though, would you?
boss.
I
And
know.
like the dragon's just like, well, have you seen anything wrong, mind?
You're absolutely right.
You're all
He's
Yeah,
going to take us all on fire?
It was pretty quiet before when it burnt the shit out of the Tarly family.
Right.
You know, she was making
That made a
speeches
point.
then.
Imagine
Just imagine that dragon
right.
sat there.
So imagine we're all
Flash fly with.
imagine we're trying to do this podcast and there's a dragon there waiting to burn us. We're not really going to be able to
Wouldn't get
talk
much
properly,
done.
would you? You know
No,
what I
you
mean?
wouldn't get
So
much
that's
done.
probably why.
The way I see it is the idea that she's just lost that dragon is so fresh in her mind. She's so scared to take anything as valuable as her own dragon again into such a situation in which Cersei might have 15 of them arrow bolts set up to take it down.
On a
She's
s-
that scared
On a
and
separate
fearful.
note as well, while we're talking about that bit, why'd you not just leave the other dragon at home and just take one?
So it looked like
Yeah.
'Cause you know
Viserion
how,
wasn't dead.
Cersei made a big point of they've lost one dragon.
Yeah.
Where's the other dragon at?
She could just said, "Oh, the two's chilling at home." You know what I mean?
And then she would have made the presumption.
Chilling.
Chilling. Very good.
They're,
Just chilling.
they're riding about. They're flying about. Sorry, not riding.
Fire in the belly.
Eating a few seals. Stuff like that.
Natural at the podcasting game.
Goats.
Scott, everyone.
Goats.
It's got everyone a natural.
Moving on.
Right, quick question.
Yeah.
Why does Bronn take Pod for a drink?
Absolutely no. I thought it was. I think it was to raise suspicion that something bad was going down. You know what, the Red Wedding.
Are they not? Maybe they're not like eligible to be there. Maybe they're not like
Lords.
that high up.
Squire.
Do you know what I
That's a
mean?
good point. I thought the idea was, from like a directorial point of view, was like Bronn maybe cared about Pod. Bronn knew something bad was going to happen, and it echoes kind of what happened in the Red Wedding, where you see the characters noticing shady things. You know what I mean? Something uneasy. It was meant to unease the watcher into thinking something bad is really going to happen here.
I've, as you guys know, I like to have a little bit of a fan theory read now
Oh,
and again.
Hellish.
Scott, can I just the people of the podcast won't know, the people who's listening. How do you know all your fan theories? Where do you get them from?
Through Reddit.
What are you doing while you're reading them?
Butt plugging.
You'd be, mate. This
Taking
is
a break from work.
this is this is an honest podcast. We like to be honest with the listeners.
So,
So the fan theory is
so wait. Can I get this joke in? You've
Go on.
channeled your inner Tywin Lannister and took a shit. Shit and gold. That was the joke.
There was no crossbows in sight that time, though.
That was a terrible joke. I tried to get out. Anyway, sorry to rudely interrupt you, Scott. Continue.
So apparently, the actor who plays Bronn and the actor who plays Cersei
Right.
were actually once an item
What?
and had
No
a
way.
really, really bad breakup.
No
and they
way.
can't stand to be in the same room together.
Really?
Oh, really?
Oh, fucking
So
way.
is that
Just
what?
drop that one in there.
So that's why the
So apparently they're never seen in the same scene together.
No way.
Scott, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
Unreal, that, by the
Love
way. I
that.
had no idea.
Good. I love a theory.
Fan theory.
It works for a character level as well. You know, when she said
Yeah.
before, when she said, he betrayed you, you're going to, like, penalise him or have him torture.
Oh yes, true. Aye.
You know what I mean?
Can I throw one in as well?
Throw one in, John.
Did anyone watch the
I don't watch Prison Break, John. Can we stop talking about that?
Did you watch the? Did you watch the?
Brad
Ma-
Bellick.
Brad Bellick rides a dragon. It can't take off because he's too fat.
It gets stuck in a pipe.
Right.
Just so people know, Scott might be a guest, but we are not doing the Prison Break series.
Who knows how we need to fill gaps in?
I've got a point to throw in. Did anyone watch the making of this episode or not?
Yes.
Did you see when they spoke about all the actors getting together? Obviously, they haven't been together for the full season, and it's interesting to get them all together in one place.
I don't think they've ever been together in the whole fucking show.
So I thought it was pretty good when they said they were all stopping at the same hotel and had a few bad heads and stuff like that. Because you'd imagine them for the first time all getting together in the same hotel.
Right.
I mean, shit's going down like you do your filming, you go back, you're getting pissed with all these people.
Maybe it's like brother and sister and auntie and all over the show.
I'm wondering like
Maybe John's cheating on Ygritte. I think he's in a relationship in real life with her. Something like that.
Is he still?
You know nothing.
Oh. Podcasting that all. This is why we bring him into the fold. He's going to take my slot or yours.
Edit that one out. Edit that out.
Right, B, getting back on track. Where are we up to?
Next point. Expected huge payoffs and repercussions of this dumb plan. As I spoke previously, similar imagery used in the Red Wedding. Eerie looks from characters, closing of the door behind Tyrion as he entered to speak with Cersei, just like the Frey closed the door on Robb. And nothing happened because of it. It's a tense situation. You're expecting big things. It's a season finale. What happened?
At any point?
No repercussions.
Did you think he was dead, Scott?
Who?
Tyrion.
I was thinking.
Do you think he was going to get killed?
I was thinking no, but I was also thinking what would Cersei benefit from if she did kill him?
That's a good point.
All hell breaks loose. Dragons come down in King's Landing.
What is
fucking
Cersei's
roast.
benefit from killing him?
That would be it, wouldn't it?
That's going through her head, surely.
Absolutely.
I just but how?
I didn't think he was. I didn't think he would die.
But they were
Never.
expecting it.
But it's
Daenerys, Davos, Jon. Everyone was expecting him to die. They were like, "You're gonna die. If you go there, you're gonna die."
We had them say his last words with Jaime,
Jon
which you would
would've died.
want. Jon would have died, aye. But he spoke to Jaime like it was his last words.
There's been a hell of a lot of fan service in this season. Like
There is, aye.
we'll
But
talk about that after the
it's great to see that. But
obviously point talk.
the reason I like Game of Thrones is it like rips your fucking heart out by killing your main characters, which you love to see every week.
Is that
It
the
didn't
first
do it.
time we've seen Tyrion have a drink of wine in this series? By the way,
Probably, aye.
Very much so.
that's bizarre as well, isn't it?
And
For an alcoholic, there you go.
I think Danny doesn't like it. He stopped him doing it. Clink.
2 seconds. Yeah.
Right, next point. Tiny dragon jaw.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Simple as that.
I wanted John to put it in his mouth. And
Imitate an alien.
yes.
Very good. So this is important, I guess. That's the dragon pits, where, because the population of King's Landing, when Targaryens ruled previously, they're afraid of dragons. Imagine being in your local northeast council, and dragons are flying around when you're trying to go to Tesco. That's no good. By the way, we're not paid by Tesco. So
Other supermarkets are
All right, reserved.
So the idea was to,
Aldi on the other hand, shop there.
sponsorship.
so to keep the peace, the Targaryens agreed to store them away in the dragon pits, and that's why that place was built. But with doing so, dragons are smaller when they're caged away, not allowed to fly free.
So was there a roof?
I believe
Or were they just
there was.
chained?
Ooh, I don't know. I really don't know.
Like, obviously, there's got to be like
Because she
a
said
side. There's got to be like inside
Daenerys
it, really.
says that they grew small, as did we,
Yes,
as a house.
that's their power.
So did they grow small because they couldn't fly, or they didn't eat?
That's a great point you
Didn't
bring
get
up.
sun?
But they were fighting each other for sport.
The main thing was inbreeding. So they inbred. Most of the dragons died. There was a coup where all the civilians got so het up about the dragons, they went in the dragon pits. All the dragons were chained down, and literally like a scene out of Frankenstein's monster, like piked them while they were in there and just ruined all the dragons.
While
in
the
there.
Targaryens are in charge,
Yes.
there's Aegon the Mad King.
Surely the original,
somewhere around that time.
The original 3 big dragons
Yeah.
weren't in
Chained
there.
up. No, that was well before this time. There's been a lot of dragons throughout the years that them like Balerion, Aegon's dragon.
But
I think
Balerion-
that's like 700 years ago.
Balerion
Something like
can't-
that.
Oh, right.
Balerion can't have died far from season 1 because
Is that-
someone else took him over.
No,
It was
700 years. 700 years ago. I don't know how long dragons live.
Someone
but
took Balerion over after obviously the main king,
yes.
and it died under a different king. It
Do you think?
a different Targaryen who was like I read up on this.
But this is
It's
well
Balerion.
before.
Can't remember what he's called. It's like a fat bald guy,
Ah, yeah.
and he's like well liked by the people, and he
Mm.
took over Balerion. It was fine. Then obviously Balerion died of old age.
Right.
But that I don't know. I don't know the time, and we should probably sort that out.
So I'm going to say 700 years.
700 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was Balerion, Vhagar, and
Meraxes.
Meraxes.
Mm.
Aye.
Yeah.
And Meraxes, I know, was killed by the Dornish, because that's why the Dornish are revered. They were the only kingdom not to bend the knee to a dragon.
Alright.
So that's why it's like they're not in that fold, and that's why
Yeah.
they're revered so
Throughout
much.
The first Dornish War.
Something like that. But, moving on. Mir Mas Durr's Prophecy. Any ideas?
Scott, who's Mir Mas Durr's? Oh, you want a drink of that?
Prison Break. I'll drink them.
Every time Beat says Mir Mas Durr's, I'm having a drink.
Oh, so Mir Mas Durr had a brother in prison, and she went to a bank and tattooed all of the layout onto it. No, mate, joking.
Me and Scott were like, how much is about King's Landing and shit on the back?
So I had the map.
Right.
Oh, just to put it out there, speaking of the map,
Yeah.
do you know the map in the last episode?
Of.
Game of Thrones.
I like the map in Iraq of the episode of the new
Anyway,
season.
the guy who actually designs it is in that last episode. Oh, he's in the series, I know.
I get what you're
He
saying.
kind of gets sent away.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
the designer of that map.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I seen it behind the scenes. Apparently, he was just.
I don't watch these.
All-
The only one I watch was when
All the behind the scenes apparently coming.
All day he had to kneel down because that's him in the shot, and like
Yeah,
his
yeah.
knees were absolutely dying apparently at the end of it.
Really?
So there you go. Good shout. I like that. Anyway, getting back to
Bend the knee.
Mir Mas Durr.
Right, who's Mir Mas
Drink.
Durr, lead?
She is that witch which. That's confused.
I thought the witch was Maggie the
Which?
I thought the witch was Maggie the Frog.
No, she's a frog. No, she's not really. So this witch puts the curse on Khal Drogo, turns him into a vegetable.
Oh right, I know
I
the
don't know
witch
if
you
that's
mean.
sensitive enough.
Remember the witch who put the curse on Khal Drogo?
And also who told Daenerys she couldn't have.
Kids.
This is the prophecy I'm referring to. So when
Right.
John says that's not a reliable source of information,
This is when they were hidden in the cave.
yes,
Everyone was thinking we were going to have a little bit of a kiss.
absolutely, aye.
I thought we were gonna neck on like to be fair.
Well, she makes this prophecy, which I'll get up now because I don't know. Right, so I've got the quote right here in front of us.
Lash the quote out, B.
This is from Fandom, Game of Thrones Wikia.com.
A very reliable source.
Excellent. When Daenerys awakens, she learns that her son was still born and malformed. She finds Drogo alive but in a vegetative state. Daenerys asks desperately, when will Drogo be as he was? And Durr answers, when the sun rises in the west, sets in the east, when the seas go dry and the mountains blow in the wind like leaves.
Right, so what's
Basic as that.
So basically, it's not going to happen.
is that what's the point, man?
The point I'm making is people have theorised that these predictions have came true already, and that it's not for Drogo to come back alive. It's for Daenerys to be able to I was going to say breed. That's not the right word. Bear children again.
Right.
So I've missed a little bit off the end. It also adds when your womb quickens again, and you bear a living child, then he will return and not before.
Wow.
So there's some shit in there. Also, people think that due to her losing a dragon, she can replace that with a son or a daughter.
That's what I said. Because obviously dragons are major power, so if a dragon dies, then you might get the Ben. You know what I mean?
Simple as that. Moving on. Theon scene, favourite of the episode, great character moment, felt so correctly paced.
I've got like great acting by Alfie Allen as well. You know what I mean? In that scene.
Top man.
I think I put down Theon's fight comedy gold.
Comedy gold.
One of the balls out.
One reason.
the best way to win a fight is get kicked in the balls, not have any, and surprise your opponent. That's the way to do it, isn't it?
It's not a bad way of doing it.
It's a smile he has afterwards. He's like, right, I've embraced not having a cock.
Aye, nah. So what's that image look like? No balls, no penis.
He's not got no.
Just a hole.
Just a hole.
Oh, gee. A vagina?
Oh.
Brutal.
Has he got a vagina or not?
I mean, not to disparage the current eunuchs of Earth, but I mean, that's how it is.
Is it?
Have you got any points to make that I've previously whipped past? Apologise.
Beats us quite often.
I had quite an interesting thing that I found back to the meeting.
Right.
Is when the hound actually kicks the box over and the white comes out.
Right.
Did you notice that the white's eyes were blue?
Yeah, yeah. How good was that?
In relevance to what?
So, potentially, don't know whether he can or he can't, was the Night King walking into the white
Right.
and actually listening to the plats, the ploys, the plans and the ploys.
I like
Because
that a lot.
normally, a white... Do whites have blue eyes?
No.
I wouldn't
Normally
say bright
zombies, aren't
blue.
they?
Remember when the mount? Sorry,
The
not
dead
the mount.
eyes aren't they black?
Remember when the hound threw the stone off that skeleton? It had white eyes. 100%. You're bang
Yeah.
on.
So it had blue eyes when it came out the box.
Bright blue, by the way.
Bright
Very,
blue, or
very
was.
blue.
But it's like he's always been a step ahead of them. He knew what they were going to do. He gave them a white to get a
So-
dragon. Do you know what I mean?
Could that have an impact of why he decided was the time to attack the wall?
He knew
That's a
John's
good point.
forces, Danny's forces, the dragons were down in King's Landing. I never thought about
That's
that.
a great point. That's why he's on the podcast.
That's why he's here.
That's a great point. So if he's obviously walked in
Because,
that white,
as we all know, the theory is him and Bran kind
Had
of
that
share the same
abilities, yeah.
So Worgen,
you can't
did he walk?
you can't beat these guys. Like you can't beat
They
them.
are powerful. I was under
How
the
are you gonna beat
impression that he has that ability at all times. So he knows kind of at all times what they're doing. Maybe he can focus it in, like you're saying, to listen in, but that makes perfect sense. Maybe too much sense that will later get revealed by
Probably
Bran.
too much sense.
I know. I like it a
But
lot.
sorry, yeah, that was my point. That was my point.
Any other ones, that's it.
I'm chiming back in. Lena Headey, unbelievable actress, and this season as well as every other season. How good is she as Cersei, by the way?
Incredible. I think I don't want to say lucky, but like they've just hit some castings. They've kept these characters since season 1.
I know.
You know what I mean?
And
6 years ago.
That's why we've only got 7 episodes now, and not 10, because you've got to pay them 10 billion an episode.
I know. But great casting all around. Next point from me. Yes, Baelish is fucked up. Love how Arya just walks away like she put the bins out. It's like she just slices them and just walks away without even looking.
I've got a point on that. So, who becomes Lord of the Vale now that Baelish is dead?
That's a great point.
I'd say
Uh,
who's the dude beat? Obviously, I'm sorry,
We-
Peter.
we're
but
on-
Who we ask take me back safely?
do you know the little kid?
Wheelar Royce.
Do you know
Wheelar Royce? Is that his name?
the guy who's at Winterfell? Is it Wheelar Royce?
He's got the biggest steel drum.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So the,
yeah.
Right,
the
yeah.
kid's going to be in charge, but under his stewardship.
Oh,
as
yeah,
right
he's
hand
Is
still
the
man.
kid still alive?
He's kind
Yeah.
of fostering that child.
Didn't sounds like slap him. And
Ah,
oh,
yeah.
that, like,
The kid-
take
that
his right
horrible-
away.
Big slapped back to the
You're right.
back to the first grade of Winterfell.
Again, what a great actor that little kid is, because I
Yeah.
bloody
Oh,
hate
he's
him.
awful. He's sucking on that tit.
like Joffrey, wasn't he? He's just
Oh,
Sickly.
hated.
But so Wheelar Royce is now in charge, really, but he's the kid's right hand man.
It may be Weimar. I don't know what his name is. Rolls Royce.
We're gonna
It's
call him-
charging on through.
Big guy who always wears like a big silver plate.
That's it. Aye.
Can I just say, if there's ever been a Talking Grass episode, it's this episode.
It is. Aye.
where we stumble through a podcast for an hour.
Rolls Royce. It's simple as that. I've just got Gold Company written down. There is great significance in that, but I don't really know too much
Do you
about
know
it.
much about the Gold Company? Because I don't know anything at all.
It's Taunton Crass.
Well,
I think it may be.
they get bought, don't they, for the services?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So right, literally talking about them. You pay them money, they do it. Aye. They're not like
Yeah.
But there's still an army together.
yes.
But they'll just fight for the highest
But
bidder.
I don't think they'll run away. Like, you pay them that money,
And they're honourable.
they'll do it, aye. But I think there may be ulterior motives in there. I believe, I don't know if it's a theory or it's been written in the books or I read it somewhere, that they are descendant Targaryens.
Yeah.
So they are Blackfires, which are bastards named after Aegon's sword or something like that.
Yeah.
So they might have a bit of a vendetta going after Dany and working for Cersei because it's like a family feud kind of thing. If they're the main line of Targaryens, they've fucked over and fought the Blackfires, and the Blackfires might want a bit of revenge in Gold Company, who the first Blackfire formed them or something
So it could
like
be
that.
Blackfire versus
Targaryen,
Targaryen.
yeah.
That would be interesting.
We don't in one season whether that's going to get explained and paid. You know,
They sound like a bit of like the Unsullied army.
Yeah.
I'd say that as
You know
well.
what I mean?
Yeah. Although they
But
do
we
have
I know the Unsullied don't get paid
There might
Yeah.
be, there might be,
because there was
that-
slaves.
that like honour.
there might be
Yeah.
20, there might be
Loyalty.
20,000 of them, but it would be interesting to see how hard they are. Like
I wouldn't
the,
like
kick
the
ass.
Unsullied are unbelievable. The Dothratis are unbelievable.
I'm going to say you wouldn't like to fight the Dothraki.
No,
The difference is they have penises, so it's been foreshadowed anyway, hasn't it?
so they've got a will to live. I've also got when we're on the Baelish point. This makes this all what we said before, beat in previous podcasts.
Aye.
Sansa was just playing him like a fiddle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we were like, why the writings are bad? Why are they writing it like that?
Yeah.
We were totally wrong.
Like she would never do that.
It was what we did. We touch upon that? Did we say
I,
that?
I guess I call it a little bit.
We touched upon it. That Sansa's just doing it for a reason. She wouldn't act like that.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it like that, which has been through.
The problem is there's no time. I thought they were setting up arcs, like, so, this is the Sansa-Arya feud, and this is going to take us into the next season, but there's only one season left, so I know they've got to wrap something up quickly. You know what I mean? If I knew there was 4 more seasons, it might last longer.
We will obviously talk about this at the end of the podcast.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
Look over the whole season, we'll get each one of our points of what we thought of it.
Right.
But I want to throw one in, right? Since we're on that point of Baelish and what happens in Winterfell.
Right.
Would Baelish do that? Would Baelish put himself in that position that easily?
Well, I think it's Bran, isn't it?
That's the difference. Baelish has always used his intelligence, and I think his poison,
He's always schemed.
his weakness is magic. What can you do against that? If you're the most smartest person in the world and someone fireballs you in the space, there's nothing you can do.
So yeah, that's a good point. So he wasn't expecting Bran to turn up and be able to tell the future.
I think it's
and the
quite
past.
poetic in the fact that he's never had to deal with magic literally being used against him. And this guy, Bran can obviously see in the past, bring up evidence against him, and fucks him big time.
It might be a small point, but when Arya actually cuts his throat, did anybody else notice that he seems to be trying to say, I love you?
It looks like
Something
I
like
love
that.
you.
You
like,
definitely
doesn't
hear I, and then you hear a bit of like a
Love.
Girl.
Love.
and then, I don't know.
So you point
That's
that out
it
when
is
we're
good.
watching.
He does try and get something out, but
He does try to say something.
It's good to know that it's
Guaranteed it'll be wrote down somewhere and it'll come out in the next...
Reddit,
Yeah,
Reddit,
yeah.
mate.
Well, the
Reddit, the gold mine.
The thing is, I've read a few of the books, and it's widely emphasised that Baelish always truly loved Catelyn, always loved her, and hated the fact that the way she died and he couldn't protect her, and the fact that it's always made a note of as well that Sansa very closely resembles Catelyn Stark, so it would make sense that Baelish did truly love her. Whether that changes anything, I don't know.
He was trying to get rid of Arya because he believed Arya was going to be in the way of them two kind of getting together.
Exactly right. So, it's a
But
good
he has
point to
also
bring up,
loved her since she was like 13.
which is fucking weird.
Moving on.
But it's Game of Thrones.
But it's Game of Thrones. I'm against. I love Jaime.
Sexually, anything goes.
No, if you don't have a penis. Moving on. Jaime's switch of allegiance felt quick.
Yeah.
The reason he turns for is not enough of a cause. He's had stronger examples of Cersei's evil in the past. It's what I wanted to happen, but it felt rushed.
I've got as well. We'll talk about that if you want first before I chime in with my
If I've
point.
skipped
What do you
anything,
want?
fill in the
chime in there.
Fill in the blanks.
I put something down the same thing, like, as that came on, it was like, where is Jaime actually riding off to?
Right.
Where is he going?
Yeah, is he going to
Is he going to
Winterfell, or is he
Winterfell?
going to Dragonstone?
So I'll get on that later. But the point I was getting at is, what had Cersei done in the past? Right, so Jaime...
Why has he been so loyal all this time? Because he loves her?
Jaime killed the Mad King because he was threatening to blow up the whole of King's Landing. Cersei blew up the Sept of Baelor and half of King's Landing. Jaime witnessed that. I thought that was going to be his turning point when he really backstabbed her and went up with the North. But all he says is, I'm betraying Dany, their enemy, which he's seen burn his troops. And he goes, no, I'm not staying with you anymore. I felt it was more of a reason when she blew up the Sept.
I know what you mean,
You know what I mean? Anyway, getting that off my chest. Moving on to the point.
my point is, Beat. My point is...
She also did give the order to kill him.
Yes, that is a good reason.
That might have a little bit of a twist your arm.
But that was completely confusing as well.
I've got 2 points here which will lead into that.
Yeah.
My first point is, why is Cersei not more scheming in this situation?
To keep him closer, lie to him.
Keep him closer, do the plan that we're originally going to set out of. Get into Daenerys' army, get into Daenerys' camp and Jon's camp, and then fuck up from the inside. Because you can't beat them. You can't beat them, you know what I mean? And Cersei is one of the greatest minds in Westeros, no matter what you say.
Maybe 1, the story needs it. 2, Cersei is finished with him and doesn't want him anymore. She's got the child.
Is it Arya with Cersei's face on?
I like it. Or is it insert Prison Break character's name?
Is Cersei going to strip off and have a map on her back? I've also got Kingslayer, Oathbreaker. Is he as honourable as what Jon Snow is after that scene?
I wouldn't say honourable.
He did what he had to stop people dying.
Yes.
And he when he made an oath to Jon Snow, said he's going to fight by the side of them and Daenerys and get rid of these White Waters.
Right.
And Cersei was like, nah, that's not the plan. We're not going to do that. He was like, nah, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep me off.
I think when it boils down to it, when good people are in harm's way, he fucking steps up the yockey and sorts things out. So he knows this ice demon is coming to get them. He's ready to step up and save the kingdom once again.
I want to rewatch Game of Thrones, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to watch season 1 because it's going to take us back to how much of a dick he was.
It's unreal. That's why I love it. I love that stuff. It's funny as hell when you watch him.
What made you hate him? Because obviously incest came into it very
Incest,
early, but now once you've watched it all, you realise incest is
not wrong.
throughout.
It's just some of his lines, mate. Some of his lines.
I don't condone incest. By the way,
push Bran off.
He hammers Jon Snow. He nearly killed Bran.
Yeah.
And you need to see that.
Stabbed Ned in the back of the leg.
Let's be honest though, Jon Snow at the beginning was a bitch.
Yeah, he was. There's another character arc for you.
Wasn't he though?
He was,
Rob was the boy.
He was the boy.
Yes. He was very young, wasn't he? He was
obviously he didn't know anything about Jon's heritage then.
It was a funny scene when he was over the moon to go at the Night's Watch, and Jaime came in season 1. He was like, "What are you talking about? Yeah, you're going to enjoy it." He knew exactly what it was like. Do you know what I mean?
Like a shithole. Moving on. Rhaegar confirmed. Simple as that.
Rhaegar confirmed. What do you think of that then?
Hellish, didn't see his face much.
What do you think so?
Reminded us so much of our brother.
Yeah. In the books, is he meant to look exactly like the brother? Because I'm sure I've read somewhere where
the famous lines.
I know. To be fair, I know he is brother.
Yeah.
But,
Rhaegar and Viserys is meant to be nearly identical, like.
Yeah. And someone found a person who literally has convinced. It was convincing people. People thought it was the same actor.
Was it the same actor?
No.
It looked like him, but just a little bit bigger.
Aye, which is what Rhaegar's meant to be like. He's meant to be a bit more broader than what Viserys was.
Well done, Game of Thrones.
Well done, Game of Thrones.
Hellish casting. What I wanted to say was.
But sorry, stop there. Isn't Lyanna Stark meant to be tall? Because that actress wasn't tall.
Maybe. I mean, she's described as being a good fighter, and that's it.
That's
I suppose we need to be tall to do that. But
I was going to say, it doesn't matter.
The point I was bringing up is, I didn't particularly like the execution of it all, with the narration over the top via Bran. Looking back to season 6, when they did that reveal of Jon, when you've got the baby, and it just cuts to Jon's face. Much better way of doing things. Much more visual. Less narration. Less exposition. And I thought it was much better handled than just someone talking while they show it.
Sorry.
Get off your phone, John.
My mate's just texted saying 40 cans of cola for 26 quid. that took me attention.
Podcast over.
We're back on.
Or has it just begun? Finish at that point. I don't know if you need to put anything other in. I've got the last point of they're here. So that's obviously in relevance to the White Waters are here. They come to the wall. Everything's fucked. Game over.
Absolutely.
Boys.
What did you think of the whole scene of the dragon coming up and just lacing into the wall? Did you think that would be the way the wall came down?
Wasn't the wall supposed to have a magic power or a spell on it?
You know more about that, Beep.
So how does it crumble so easily, either by fire or by very, very forceful ice? Whatever it's breathing, because it's blue, it looks scary. But how does it break this spell?
I've got it.
What?
Oh.
Benji Stark's fireball.
Fireball! Insert Prison Break player.
So the way I saw it, I'm in complete agreement.
Does magic beat magic?
I'm in complete agreement with Scott.
Alright.
That's a magical barrier, like set up. The way I see it is it was hitting off the wall like a fly hitting a window. You know what I mean?
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Could it be anything to do with Bran passing back through the wall? What?
Good grief.
After being touched by the Night King and breaking the spell.
See, I mean, we're getting
We're
another
getting
hell
real
of a theory.
deep here,
that.
like.
That could be it.
Like deep pan pizza deep.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Pizzas
Just ordered.
pizzas are en route, people.
Pizzas are in. I've done this whole podcast hungry. How have I done it?
I just.
If
There's
you
someone up
remember
there.
Back, then
Yeah.
when
He was
he's
walking.
obviously-
Yeah.
Yeah. He meets Leaf and he's walking, and the Night King touches him, and then as he kind of wakes up in a panic, as you do from like a nightmare,
He's
he looks at
scarred.
his arm and he's got the blue. Does that potentially?
There's something there, bigger. There's a bigger picture there, isn't there? I want to say.
Why
right?
does he let him go?
I want to say exactly, Scott. You've nailed it there.
To get to maybe take that spell from the wall.
Look, this guy, the Night King. Everyone is in true Game of Thrones style thinks he's just a zombie who's
Right.
just bringing other zombies from going through. You mentioned before on a podcast, Pete. I think that you could see a scene in the next season where he can actually speak like a normal person. He talks to the other.
I don't know about that.
Or maybe in their
In
own
some
language or
way,
whatever.
aye.
Maybe subtitled. I don't know.
Dothraki.
It could be in Dothraki. No, honestly, mate. There's talk of him being a Stark. There's talk of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you had them out of scene in season 8, talking around a table and trying to work out how they're gonna get there and take over
Plotting.
all the humans. Because at the end of the day, everything what's happened this season, it's been played in the Night King's hands.
Funny you should mention that. You think he could be a Stark. There's a theory.
A Scott theory, ladies and gentlemen. That's why he's here.
So there is a theory that when the wall comes down and they're walking through the wall, their formation of the army is in the shape of a wolf, which, as we all know,
Really?
is the visual of the Stark family.
Is that true?
Yeah.
In that episode?
Yeah.
People,
I need to go back.
we'll be back in 5 minutes. We're gonna run back with the episode.
It's not the pizza. Trust us.
But yeah, honestly, watch it back. Just put it to the end and
Have you watched it back?
yeah.
Does it look like wolf?
Have you watched
Yeah.
it back? We just watched it.
It looks
Jeez,
like
I
a
didn't
wolf.
see
It
it.
honestly does look like. It looks like. Is it the symbol of the Stark house of of that wolf? It looks very, very similar. They could just be walking around big rocks. Fair
Right.
dues, aye. But
Actually, lads, I used to be a werewolf, but I'm okay. No.
I was trying to leave that as silent as possible.
Insert cricket noise.
Getting back to what Scott said, I think what Game of Thrones likes to do is it gives you something like the wall coming down and then explains things later on, gives you a little piece of nuggets of information of why that's happened. So I don't want to be quick to judge of why we haven't been given a reason. I know fiery dragon's a pretty good reason, but maybe what Scott said might play a part. He might meet him later on and say, "Oh, remember that time I marked your hand? That allowed me to pass the fucking barrier of magic."
They've got to do something like that.
Maybe, aye.
possibly, I know I already brought the point that the Night King can walk into the white at the meeting. Is it potential we saw Bran walking and then we saw the Ravens
Wall, aye.
kind of. But is Bran walking into the Ravens, or is he walking into the Night King?
Good grief.
Or even the dragon?
What, to take down the wall himself?
Well,
Why would
exactly.
he do that? Would he do that to help Jon and his army take out Cersei?
Is the White Walkers actually the good?
Oh my great aunt.
Do they need to have the White Waters through to be able to bottle them and end it forever?
I'm sure that wall's a big asset.
I know.
Surely.
Have you seen the people who's on the wall protecting it?
Grizzly bears.
Imagine the children.
I'll lead
Big monsters.
I'll lead into. What do you think of the whole Jon and Daenerys situation? Don't answer it fully because I'm sure there's a fan question on this.
Alright.
But what
Jon,
was
initial reaction,
what was
two
Tyrion,
words.
what was Tyrion's reaction all about? I know we're a bit split in the camp here.
Split the cap.
Because I believe
Yeah, right.
I believe that Tyrion was pissed off because he loves Daenerys.
Right, my take on it is, it's fucked up. That nothing changes the fact that he's fucking his aunt. I didn't care for
Tyrion
it.
doesn't know that though.
Oh, Tyrion doesn't know that.
Tyrion's reaction.
From Tyrion's reaction, speaking about it that way, I think he doesn't want the two houses together. I think he thinks it's a bad. I think it pushes him outside of Dany's circle.
He told Jon that he wanted to bend Jon to bend the knee to Daenerys though earlier in the episode.
As a means of stopping his friend being killed, maybe. I don't know.
Because he's got respect for Jon, hasn't he? So he wanted him to be, on his opinion, the winning side. But I think Tyrion's reaction is basically because he knows what two good characters, well, not characters, two good people in Game of Thrones, when they get together, it always ends up in shit.
Right.
Yeah, that could be a point.
I took away from it that he's scared that Daenerys is listening more to Jon than he is himself, and maybe he's scared that he's being pushed out and pushed more towards.
Jon, was that nice?
Let's just say we're waiting for pizza. We're having a great time at the minute.
God damn, I'm sick of them dragons hissing in the background. So, I mean, I'm all out of points. If we've missed anything,
I'm
please
pretty much-
ask us a question.
I've got a point.
What have you got, Jon?
My final point is, what will Jon want to be called in the next season?
Jon.
Will he not be called Aegon Targaryen when he finds out that's his true lineage?
No, he will stick with Jon.
Will he be Jon Snow or will he be Jon Targaryen?
Jon Sand. No, Jon Targaryen.
I think he'll take the last name but probably keep Jon.
Yeah, I do as well. Maybe call his
And
child
on a separate note,
Aegon.
this is if he does have a child. We don't know that yet, Scott. Scott's looking at the Reddit future.
I walked.
Walked into the future.
You can't, can you?
Walked into George R. R. Martin.
His fat body.
And braces to find out what happens. Right, anyway. Walking into
Jon.
Daenerys' toilet seat.
Jon, man, we're going to cut this all.
Do they have toilet seats in Game
We're
of
still
Thrones,
going
by the
here.
way?
Aye. It's called a privy, aye. What do you think Tywin Lannister was sitting on a chair?
Oh shit, I know he was on a toilet.
Toilets exist.
Right, so what he's going to be called Jon Targaryen.
Targaryen, aye.
Right, so Jon's a Targaryen now. Do you think he'll denounce himself from Ned, or do you think he'll still take Ned as his father? Do you think he'll still call Ned his father?
You can't change the fact that he grew up with that person. I think, right, imagine you grew up with someone who wasn't your biological dad. I'm talking from birth.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't, like, just because you got told that you were born to some other father, you wouldn't just fucking let him behind, would you?
Some people go like, oh, Christ, I just found that out. I want to go and find my real father.
It depends on the relationship you shared with your dad.
That's fair.
I think it's a similar thing to what he said to Theon Greyjoy earlier in the episode.
That's what I missed. That's what I wanted to break.
That
Was foreshadowing it, Scott. You're exactly right.
It's
What he
so
said-
bang on. You're so
you're a
bang on. stuff,
Greyjoy
right?
and you're a Stark.
That's exactly
So you're a Targaryen and you're a Stark.
You're so bang,
bang
on.
on. That's it. He's foreshadowing it, so he will stay Stark, but he'll also embrace his Targaryen side.
Will Dany, if she finds out, want him to do that?
Be happy about it.
No.
He should have the throne.
I think now that they're getting a little bit closer,
Yeah.
I think she has got
A little
massive, she has
got massive what?
soft spot
All right.
for Jon.
Okay.
Excellent.
Targaryen Stark.
Lads, I think that wraps up episode discussion.
Fantastic.
And what we'll do now
Is it pizza?
is hopefully the pizza will arrive soon. Before that, we'll go into some fan questions.
Right.
So the first fan question is from at Raza Yube. Raza, what a man. He's been on a couple of podcasts now. So Raza says, Season 1 Twincest, wrong. Season 7, Aunt and Nephew. What's your thoughts on that, lads?
Right. So he's referring to Jamie.
Yeah.
I understand.
So everyone lambasted Jamie. Totally wrong. Shouldn't be doing that with his sister. What's your view on Aunt and Nephew?
Still wrong. Absolutely don't get a pass. It's so
I'm sure
fucked
you can
up.
marry your cousin in certain parts of England.
Of course you can.
Scott, you said that
Right on the ball.
You said that very convincingly there.
Right on the ball. Nah, it's completely wrong. Shouldn't happen at all in any circumstances. Although, again, as I say, from a story standpoint, it's pretty interesting to see a character who is really the protagonist. You portray yourself into him like, I want to fight a fucking ice demon, of course. Fucking his auntie? A bit weird.
As Littlefinger said earlier in the show as well, that them two together are a formidable force.
Yeah.
They are
Of course.
very, very difficult to beat, but they're related, so it's just not right.
If my
It's
feet,
just not right.
Fuck like.
all right, lads, could be 2-on-1 here. If my feet were in Jon Snow's boots, right? You've got this lovely blonde lass who's in control of dragons, who's beautiful. You don't know she's your auntie, all right?
Right.
You don't know that.
You're gonna.
If you're in that situation, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do?
Well,
Scott,
absolutely.
what are you gonna do in that situation, Scott? Are you
I
gonna
know, but I
not
know-
touch a retard barge pole?
I know the auntie and nephew, but from
If you're in
John,
John's
if
situation.
he has no idea, of course you are.
Well, yeah.
Powerful, beautiful, on a ship.
Dragons?
So I'm gonna say, so you've had sex with Daenerys, you love her, and she's decent crack.
You find out she's your auntie.
You find out she's auntie, what you doing?
Well, you've done it now, so you obviously can't do anything about that. But you can't continue.
The problem is,
You can't change feelings though.
he fell in love with her. You know what I mean?
In as well, George R. R. Martin's addressed this when Peter's been obviously kicking off.
Targaryens are commonly known for incest.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So-
So Danny's
if you're
got
gonna
no
stay-
problem with it.
If you're
Game
gonna
of Thrones.
if you're gonna stay true to the show, it's Game of Thrones. It's gonna happen.
It's going to happen.
You want the
There's-
two to get together anyway.
There's a good thing
You want them to get together, provided they're not family. So
We've got another question as well from Raza. He says 6 episodes left. How much will it be versus the White Walkers, and how much versus Cersei?
Good grief. So in, I think episode 1, I predicted that this Cersei will be gone, wiped off the face of the planet.
You think Cersei's gonna die in episode 1 of the new season?
No, in episode 1 of like this season, I thought she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
going to be destroyed.
Mate, Cersei plays a good game.
She does.
she does.
That's why she's
especially
here.
recently.
No.
That's why she's here.
Pretend that she's taking sides with Daenerys. It's possibly one of her greatest ploys. she's
They've
done
got to
yet.
start. Well, they've got to start. The first few episodes have got to be the White Walkers, because they're over the past the wall. They're gonna hit Winterfell. Do you know what I mean?
How do you?
They can't afford to do another recap episode like they did at the beginning of this season.
How do you stop the White Walkers? The White Walkers are now in the north, so they're going to hit Winterfell in literally one episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So what do
It's
you
gonna be
do?
White Walkers.
How do-
I think the mid.
Ah,
it's
but
gonna
if
go.
you-
It's gonna go beginning White Waters. It's gonna go middle Cersei, and it's gonna go end White Waters.
If you realise though, what they were talking about was Jon and Daenerys is on the ship towards Winterfell to meet the Dothraki on King's Landing, which they said they would get there within a fortnight.
So he's taking them forces up
So
north.
they're going to Winterfell. So therefore, all them forces are going to be at Winterfell. So potentially, the first episode is going to be an absolute brawl.
I could be just Winterfell in the middle of it.
Do you
It's
think
going
there's going
down
to be
like.
two battles between Jon and the Night's King during this season?
Maybe he has one at Winterfell, and then maybe he has one King's Landing. when
Maybe he has one where he
takes-
dies.
He'll get away at some point because Hardhome. He got away from Hardhome, and how we did that.
I know.
But you can't just keep on pulling back. You know what I mean? He keeps
Yeah.
on. You can't go all the way down.
He's not defeating them in the first episode,
No, you're right there.
is he?
Nah.
We've got another. Going into another question. We've got As versus the World. Regular listener to the Game of Thrones podcasts.
Absolute legend.
He says, "Got to talk about the dragon. Is it still fire, or is it ice that it breathes? Surely, if it was ice, it would have been reinforcing the wall, not melting it."
Depends how powerful the ice is. depends how powerful it's coming out, because it could just be a case of like
Just battering it
rock
down.
on rock.
Yeah.
Mm.
So if you fire like
If you're going to,
a rock fast
gonna
enough,
break.
it's going to break
they're
apart.
both going to break, but
Yeah.
they're going to break and crumble.
I just see on the basis that it just looked like fire.
I think it could be that I'm gonna say it's just blue
Maybe it's a
fire.
combination.
Think of an avalanche. An avalanche is through vibration,
Decent damage. I understand where you come from.
but
Is it
yeah,
ambiguous?
Wasn't the steam?
we all
Wasn't
want it to be fire.
wasn't
don't
the steam coming
Aye.
off the wall though? When it was doing it,
we? Is that not
A
just
little
smoke?
bit.
I think it was steaming. I think it could be just blue fire.
I wanted a bit
It's like
ice
a gas. You know when you put your gas on, it's like blue instead of orange. I'm totally wrong here.
Right, get past that. Yeah, you're right. I know.
You're
No,
right.
that's still what you
Don't
can
know why
burn.
gas came into it though.
You can burn salt to make fire change colour, can't you?
Mhm.
Something like that. You put blue salt on
There
it.
you
turns
go,
blue.
Az.
Yeah.
There you go, Az. It's
So
a salty blue flame.
I want
Moving
to,
on.
I want to see ice, because why wouldn't you want to see people being frozen in place like that when
That
they're
would be
getting bomb
cool.
run?
Yeah, that would be cool.
You know what I mean?
A whole army.
A field
So
of
burning
ice
them,
rather than
it
a
does
field
that
of
and
fire.
it's just like,
But I think it's fire.
to end the podcast, I want to hear what your two thoughts are what we're going to see next season. Beat, starting with you.
Predictions of deaths,
What's your
or what we're
predictions?
going to see?
We'll have predictions of people you think's going to die, and then what you think's going to happen.
So
In any order you would like.
you have to have, before the end of the season, you have to have a position where all the forces are ready to fight. You have one side here and one side here. So I think Cersei gets dealt with before the War for the Dawn, I think that's what the war's called, happens. So I think Cersei will be dealt with. I don't know how. They have to find out about her plan to take the Golden Company.
Mhm.
So maybe they'll have a war between themselves. I do not know. It's really what I would have been able to predict before the season, but after seeing this season, characters can move anywhere. There's only one season left for all this to be wrapped up. I don't know the time limits of anything. There may be 2-hour episodes. They've just got pure freedom.
Raz reckons there's only 6 episodes as well.
Yeah, there
I
is.
thought
I
it
think
was
that's
7.
that's confirmed.
No,
6 episodes.
6 episodes, mate.
Aye.
So that's going to bloody be ridiculous.
Not a lot of time.
Scott?
Well, you could go very kind of on the fence and say Grey Worm's going to die, but
Yes.
I'm going to go big,
Right.
and I'm going to say that Daenerys is going to die.
You reckon?
Right.
Yeah, and I think Dany is. I think she's going
Do
to
you
die.
think? Do you think she's going to die fighting the Night King on that dragon? Night
I
King's
think
going to
Cersei's
survive.
going to kill her.
Do you reckon?
Wow.
I don't know.
Big
I
shout.
don't know how. I don't know why. And I don't know when. But I think Cersei's going to have some way of killing her.
To
Yeah,
add,
she's going to anger. What do you call them? Aegon, Jon,
right.
Yeah.
Sand, Snow,
And then-
Targaryen, Stark.
Maybe
What a
right.
name, by the way.
Maybe
That's a great
maybe
name.
they'll have a battle themselves, or they'll both end up dying somehow, and then
Will Jaime
then,
kill Cersei?
then it'll be John.
To
Well,
add to
that's-
what
it's-
John said.
No, it's interesting you say that because I've got a theory. Taking after Scott, what would happen, right, if Cersei gives birth to a dwarf and she dies in childbirth?
What?
You know, like Tyrion killed the mother.
Right.
What if Cersei gives birth to a dwarf, she dies in childbirth, and Jaime's killed her that way?
If
How poetic would that be?
Ah, it's Game of Thrones.
How poetic
if-
would that be?
in an incest relationship, if a brother shags a sister and the sister gives birth, is that daughter or son their brother? Who knows?
So my
It doesn't matter anyway.
I think there's got to be a couple of main characters die because this season is all.
Sorry, can I say that? It does matter. The reason I brought it up. The reason I brought that up is in the prophecy, Maggie the Frog says, alongside her 3 children dying, that she will be killed by her younger brother. And both Jaime, it's very importantly stated that Jaime was born, although the twins, he came out first. So that would make, Cersei came out first, so that would make Jaime the younger brother, as well as Tyrion.
Right.
So that they both apply. That may play
That's
things. Anyway, that's my final note. Any last questions?
To finish off for me, I think obviously like Cersei will die
Mm-hmm.
because they've got to leave it for Jon versus the Night King.
Yes.
I think you're probably right. I think Daenerys will probably die. it's horrible to say, but I'm hoping Daenerys dies and Jon doesn't die because it's one or the other, I think.
Right.
We've had too much fan service this season.
Mhm.
Some bad's happening next season.
Right.
Like, I'm willing to stick out there. I'm not happy with the writing of the season, what's gone on. I think they've jumped a lot around the map. They've cut corners, left, right and centre. And in my opinion, it's got to go back to the norm. They needed to do that because they needed to wrap it up. So I'm hoping the 6 episodes that are coming will go back to what will, the big payoff.
Right.
So build, and we get the payoff in there.
But it's only 6 episodes?
Well, hopefully we get the payoff in the 5th episode like we normally do.
All right.
I don't know,
Right,
we'll
I get
see.
ya. Okay.
Because this one was just like total fan service Hollywood. What we'll end on? You look eager to hurry one in, Scott. So we'll end on this.
Just a quick one to add. So we all know the theory of the 3-headed dragon.
Yes.
Yeah. So the theory of the 3-headed dragon.
Yeah.
So we all thought that the 3-headed dragon potentially was Daenerys, Jon,
Tyrion. Yeah.
Now we all think it could be potentially Daenerys, Jon, the Night King.
It is. Oh, right. So they're them two. They're the 2 riders already.
So
Danny and the Night's King.
Yeah. You get Targaryen. You get Stark, which potentially is the Night King, and then you get Targaryen and Stark, which is Jon.
Right.
Here's another one for you. Does Daenerys give birth to a 3-headed dragon?
Jesus Christ.
From Jon Snow.
So, I like that, by the way. He's one fight to back that up with a bit of evidence. In season 1, when Dany's child is given birth to, you don't get a good description of it, but you hear it's got scales and dragon-like features. In the first season, you get that. I'm sure there's a line in there, something like that.
Yeah.
So that pays credence to what Scott's saying.
That could be interesting.
That would be daft
So she's
as
going to
hell.
give birth to
A weird human
three-headed
hybrid.
dragon.
Oh, would she give birth to a little small dragon, and that would grow up to be huge?
Well, she
Nah,
went
no.
in the fight with 3 dragon eggs and
I'm
brought
not-
out 3 dragons.
I'm not having that.
Do you not like it? Too magical.
I think it's just going to be a baby. It could be triplets.
Ah.
So it's metaphorical.
Could be triplets. Could be 3-headed dragons.
With dragons' heads.
I like that.
It could be scaly, dragon-headed triplets.
I like that.
No, it could be triplets. We'll see.
That makes sense.
Anyway, time for the plug. It's been a great episode. Thanks for coming on, Scott. Appreciate it, mate.
No problem.
Takes a lot to turn up, come here, record speak, bring your theories. Loved it, mate.
Watch Prison Break.
And I've finally got a drinking partner because B doesn't drink, as you know.
Get in there.
Roller cola.
Obviously, we do films as well. Follow us on Twitter @TalkingCrass. We're also on SoundCloud. If you want to go on there, there's a few people leave comments and we try to get back to them. Love the crack on there when you decide to make a comment on all the different episodes. And we're also on Patreon. If you want to donate any money to us to keep going, afford more t-shirts and pop filters. But mainly, if you can get on iTunes, leave us a 5-star review and just let us know what you think of the podcast. We're always on Twitter, so drop us a mention as well. Thank you, lads. Beat, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Scott, you first of many, hopefully.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Much appreciated for you to have us. Thank you very much.
Anytime, man.
Looking forward to Season 8, 2019.
Maybe we're the 3-headed dragon?
Maybe we are the 3-headed dragon.
Fucking hell, there you go.
Do dragons drink cans like what me and Scott do?
We could also be triplets.
Work that one out. See you later, people.
In a bit, though.